How do you create as God, as the operant power of your reality, and what do you have to keep in mind when you are faced with unpleasant circumstance? In this video, I'm going to teach you how to behave as God, think as God, and all the rest. Now, for some of you, it might be challenging when you are faced with unpleasant circumstances. And this is where you have to persist into the mindset, into the thinking that, you know what, I'm in charge. Now, you have to not actually reclaim your authority because you never lost it, but you have to remind yourself of your authority. Therefore, when an unpleasant circumstance comes into your 3D, is presented to you, what you have to do is acknowledge yourself as source. Now, sometimes you might not view the reason for why the circumstance manifested. You might not find your thoughts behind the circumstances, and now that this is okay. I don't want you to start overanalyzing and overthinking and over micromanaging every detail. What you have to do next is reclaim your position, your status of being in charge. Now, an unpleasant circumstance comes in your reality. Let's just say your SP says something, and when I say SP, I'm not actually talking about a specific romantic puppet. I'm talking about a specific puppet, like you know the name of the puppet, okay? And let's just say they tell you something awful in your reality. Now, it's up to you how you handle this kind of information, because whatever is in your 3D is just information. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it false. It's just information, okay? It's just an idea. Now, the way you handle this information will reveal your identity. Now, if you trigger yourself, it doesn't matter, okay? Don't overthink, well, I'm in a victim mindset, blah, blah, blah. It's your job, it's up to you to reclaim your status as God, the operant power, and persist in choosing the identity of authority. I'm the main authority, okay? So you see an unpleasant circumstance, someone says something, someone does something, a situation is presented to you differently than you would like, your money situation is different, you reclaim your status, and you say, I don't care what is presented to me right now. I know I choose differently. I have the authority to make this out here change. And you leave it at that, and then you decide your outcome. So it's basically you persisting in having the authority, because your authority, your word is the word of God. You're the only one with the authority. Now, even when you choose something that is not in your favor, you still have the authority to make that circumstance go, to make that circumstance continuing in your reality, okay? You're not a hopeless or a powerless person in your reality. Like, you're not everyone's box sack. So it's up to you. This is how you create as the operant power. So you leave everything that you see in your 3D, any information that you have from the 3D that is currently in your face right now, you acknowledge it as being there. Yeah, of course, because creation is already finished. It's there, but it doesn't have the power to decide your outcome. It doesn't have any power on itself to punish you, to persecute you, to judge you, to define your destiny. You're the only one defining your destiny, okay? So you imagine yourself with the authority that you already have. You imagine yourself powerful. You imagine yourself in charge. That's what manifestation is all about. It's how you imagine yourself, because from how you imagine yourself, you're going to define your whole destiny. You're going to define how you imagine people, situations, puppets, whatever, okay? You imagine yourself with authority. I'm going to say it again until it clicks to you, and this is what I'm saying in my Addicted to You course. I'm teaching you how to imagine yourself in charge. Imagine yourself with power, okay? That's all you're doing. You don't have to bother imagining someone else or imagining they behave differently. You imagine yourself with authority. You define yourself over and over again, and you choose to define yourself in your favor, okay? Something happens. Someone says something. I don't care. It doesn't get to define me. I decide. I choose, okay? I am in charge. I'm the main authority. And as sooner and as more often you remind yourself that you're the main authority, you're the only authority, you will see that circumstances will no longer bug you. They will no longer bother you. You will no longer feel this tiny little human being. You will never feel like David in front of Goliath, okay? You will not feel that the circumstance has you, that your boss is in charge, that your specific puppet is in charge, that, I don't know, faith, karma, whatever you have the false impression that is in charge, okay? Imagine yourself differently, because your 3D, it's based on how you imagine yourself. You imagine yourself small, powerless, below, how to call it, I don't know, all kind of inferior things. You imagine yourself persecuted, judged, put to the wall, unloved, unchosen. How you imagine yourself is how your 3D it's going to be. But when you start imagining yourself, I'm the boss, I'm the only authority, you will see that fears, doubts, negative thoughts will no longer bug you. Why? Because you've chosen a new identity for yourself. You've shifted your mindset, you've shifted your state. When you reclaim yourself and you imagine yourself as powerful, the only thinker, you have entered a new state. And guess what? That new state doesn't get to have the thoughts that you now as a victim have, because it's a totally different state. Each identity has their own thoughts. Now I like to call them two main identities, the one of a victim and the one of a conscious creator. Now, if you want to fall asleep, be my guest, but you all have the authority to change your current circumstances by changing who you imagine yourself to be. Now, exaggerate in your statements, exaggerate in the way you imagine yourself. Imagine yourself divine, the greatest, the best, the most perfect divine creature that exists. Because you are. That's why you can come up with the ideas. But exaggerate in everything. View yourself so high that no negative thought can touch you. Not that they can, but you get my thoughts. Okay? You are the main authority. Nothing out there gets to decide how it's going to be. Be stubborn. Don't allow a tiny little wind, a tiny little idea, a tiny little information in the 3D throw you off your ground. Imagine yourself great, imagine yourself powerful. It all starts from you. The 3D cannot change as much as you want to change it by fighting in the 3D, by fighting with it, by trying to go there and convincing your specific puppet to marry you, or convincing your specific puppet of a boss to give you a raise, or I don't know, or doing 5 jobs just so you can reach the abundance that you like. No, this is not the way. A tiny little shift in here is going to change all the other circumstances that you fight so hard in the 3D to change. A tiny little shift. You have nothing to lose. Do the shift. Persist, be stubborn in viewing yourself as the highest, of having the highest idea of yourself. It's not hard. Why would you want to go through your life by thinking low of yourself? It's unimaginable. It's cruel. It's gruesome. It's hateful towards yourself. This is how you create as God. This is how you take back your reins from that you have falsely put upon the 3D. Exaggerate, because what you're going to imagine yourself is what's going to be reflected out there. In my case, and this is what I teach you in my course, in my Addicted to You, and not only this, there's also some mechanisms behind this whole idea of manifesting and how manifestation works. But in my case, I don't care. I don't care who's out there. I'm the best. I don't care. I don't care if there are other puppets out there. I'm the best. I'm the best in all categories. I'm the only choice in any category. In my opinion, in my reality, I'm addictive. I'm the best. I don't care. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't give a fuck. I don't entertain any other ideas that there could be any other option. There are no other options in my reality. Because if I dare to entertain the idea that there could be any other options, that my specific puppet could have any other options, that there are other puppets out there, that there are other choices that my own creation could choose from, you know what I did? I just prepared for myself the worst life's experience, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm smarter than that. I love myself too much. I'm way too important for myself to do that to myself. You understand, guys? Do this, okay? Exaggerate, view yourself. You shouldn't care. I don't care. I personally don't care. Why should you care? I don't give a fuck. I don't care about the economy. I don't care about anything. I don't care about what has been in my past. I don't care of what I've had in my past. I don't care about old patterns, old fucking trauma. I don't even have time for this bullshit. Simple, to the point, plain, a straight, plain road, simple to the point. Don't care. Don't overthink. Don't care. Simply don't care. Okay? That's it for today, guys. Bye-bye.